know many of you might be feeling alone at this moment. So, if you were anything like me, I struggled in graduate school. I felt very alone. I felt like there was nobody I can talk to. I felt that the thing I was working on was sort of pushing me away from other things around me. And I think a lot of people feel this whenever they are doing research in graduate school. So if you don't know me, I'm an associate professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There were so many people that helped me out that I wanted to pay the favor forward and help you out. So I do remember many moments where I felt like I could not talk to people about the things that I was working on, or people didn't necessarily understand everything that was going on behind the scenes. The only people that I could feel comfortable talking to that sort of got what I was feeling was my advisors. And even then, it was often very difficult to talk to them about personal things and sort of going through and touching on some of these things. I had some great advisors that were able to talk to me about some of these difficult things, but not everybody has that, and not everybody has a confidant or somebody in their life that they can openly talk to about the struggles that you go through as a graduate student, as you know, even as a researcher or a professor, where you are doing things in some particular area that nobody else is doing, and that there's no real other person to talk to. The other career that's very similar to this is something like entrepreneurship, where you're going in a new domain and nobody is going and giving you tips or helping you along the way. So I created this whole reciprocity project to sort of help with this aspect of life. You know, first of all, with providing research tools and sort of building out research tools to make research easier and help make decisions along the way. But also, you know, this whole aspect of you run into all sorts of things where you just don't really know what the right answer is, and it's not clear. And if you notice, a lot of the times I'm not really giving you a particular answer of what you should do, but I'm helping you sort of think through some of these things. Because this is the advice, this is what was given to me in terms of what was going on. And it's a real struggle for me to do a lot of this stuff. First of all, you know, it's not exactly part of my job, and I worry about that on a regular basis, that, you know, if I do these things, am I going to lose my job? Is this not directly related to what I'm supposed to be doing as a researcher? A lot of people don't do this, and I think that's why there's a real dearth of people giving good advice, even your advisors, even the, you know, people around you in graduate school. They always feel like they're in a hurry, that they can't talk to you, that there is not necessarily you can't just have a conversation with them. And I think this is a real problem in academia. It's a real problem in higher education in general, where people are so focused on performance metrics that they forget that there's all these other things that are going on behind the scenes, that before you get those performance metrics, before you actually get to the point where you know, people are actually performing at where they should be, there's all this stuff behind the scenes that goes on. You know, really good companies get this kind of stuff and they invest in all of that. And they recognize what is going on behind the scenes really truly matters. It is called, there's actually real big terms about this, and actually was crazy enough a breakthrough in economics, sort of sociology and economics just a few years ago even. It's called social capital, where we look at not only working on individuals and the human capital and how they develop and build and, you know, gain knowledge and skills and stuff, but also thinking about the social capital and the relationships between individuals really truly matters. And the reason is when we feel like we are alone or lost, or we can't do anything, or all of those negative emotions, we actually can't do that well. We actually aren't performing that well. I was, fortunate enough to be blessed with the ability to push some of that stuff away, and sort of bubbled up years later. But I was able to push some of that stuff away to accomplish the things that I needed to accomplish at the time. But all of these things, really do matter, because a lot of people, the majority of people, can't necessarily function. They can't push that stuff away. And I think that's why it's built into academia, is that we're really focused on these sort of output goals and looking at, immediate goals. But a lot of the immediate goals are not immediate. They take a lot of time. There's a lot of effort behind the scenes. And to get there, we have to really work on individuals as people, which we're sort of forgetting about in academia. It's kind of weird that, particularly in business schools, in people that study, human behavior, right? So like sociology, psychology, and stuff like that. It's the great irony that the people that study human behavior are the ones that are probably the most worst at sort of acknowledging some of these things that are really human about us, and really working on some of those things and focusing on just output, because all of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes really does matter. Now, I can't help everybody, and we can't help everybody sort of process some of these things. And I realize that, but it is, you can help some people get it off around the hump in order to start performing and doing a little bit better on a daily basis. That's why I'm doing a lot of these videos, and they don't get, I'm not becoming uber wealthy in any sort of way, and it's not really the goal of what I'm trying to do with this. But if you think, taking somebody out for dinner based on the monthly earnings of this project is wealthy, well, okay, maybe it is, but my point is with this is we really have to start working on some of these things behind the scenes, in order to make progress and to really advance science and advance, higher education is one thing, that's an important component, but the whole science component of it, where we are working on people in order to perform better and do a lot better as researchers, because they've sort of thought about and worked through some of these things. When they don't have an advisor, knowing when to leave a situation or when to work on yourself versus, standing up for yourself, that's a real tricky thing. And I struggle with this. I'm not perfect at it at all either. And knowing what some of these things are, just having somebody sort of give some thoughts on it, even if it's a random kooky person on the other side of the world, I know that there's people from all over the world that watch this, and that's super cool. And thank you for that. But you have to. You often feel better if somebody else is in the same boat and they understand where you're coming from. You can sort of make sense of what's going on. I think that was the biggest thing for me with my advisors is knowing that other people were in the same boat and that they're struggling with these things, and it wasn't clear. None of this stuff is clear. But, a couple of the things I do know that is clear, in my mind, especially looking back in terms of what my life has been and where I want to go and where I want to be when I'm 90 years old. Being good to people is one of the most important things that we can ever do, is to really focus on what can we do to make somebody else feel better, is really going to advance who we are as individuals, as academics, and science as a whole. If we really do focus on some of those things, where we try to be kind to other people and really work on that. And the other thing is to know that rigor is incredibly important, and it's incredibly difficult to get to. And so if you have that combination where you have rigorous standards that are difficult to obtain, and people struggle to get to those that standard, but at the same time being very supportive, in terms of helping people move towards there, and being, the third thing is being as open and wide open as we can possibly be, so that everybody gets this. It's not just, I used to sort of think that, that academia should be sort of a pecking order thing. And it is. There is so much of a pecking order that's going on. So that's where, that there is an elite school and all the other people can't get access to those resources. It's called the Matthew effect. It's really well known in sociology and economics and business and stuff. It's really well known. But we need to be more open so we don't have this. We need to democratize science and research so that we can keep pushing forward with this, so other people can get these resources and they can say, hey, there's that kooky person out there that is setting rigorous standards and trying to be supportive and helping out with all these different issues that we have. Now, if we can accomplish that, even if it's one person, even if they sort of buy into some of these things and, they get the reciprocity project, that's really it. I've accomplished my goals. It's cost a lot of resources and dedication, but at the same time, I really think that this is important, and it's the missing link in academia. It truly is the missing link in terms of why people are dropping out, why there's so much high rates of depression, why there's such a struggle with it, is not having more of this support around us. And the more that we can have this support, the better off that we all will be, and the more that science will advance going forward. So if you are a graduate student and you have gone through these different difficult experiences, or you're watching this video right now because you're going through really difficult experiences, know that we have all been there. A lot of us have been there, maybe not everybody. And all of our experiences are different, and we all have different stories, but at the same time, there's a lot of uniqueness with what is going on. We all struggle with many things that are going on in our life. Know that you are totally a human being to experience these things, and you don't have to feel like that. You can do other things in your life to not feel the way that you're doing, the way that you're feeling right now. So work on feeling better, feeling happy, really work on some of these things and get the courage to be you in the surrounding where you're at. Whether it is standing up to people that you feel that are bullying you, and it's probably the case that they are bullying you if you feel that way, and have the courage to become a better person. So that's all I wanted to say. If you are struggling as a graduate student, you can watch some of the videos, but at the same time, I'd highly recommend for you to go and talk to somebody that's impartial. It might not be, if you have a partner, it might not be your partner, but, it might be, counselor, whatever it is. All those things are incredibly important to who you are as a person. And if you're a professor too, and you're watching this and you're like, well, this is resonating, really work on that. Go and invest in you. Spend some time in that. Spend some time in that sort of social capital, with building relationships with other people. So that's it. I hope you like this video. Give me a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel. And hang in there. You got this. All right. Take care. Bye.